The battle to win over the media, and in effect the Turkish propaganda machine, between President Recep Tayyip Erdoğan and Prime Minister Ahmet Davutoğlu is intensifying as the general election that will determine the future of the ruling Justice and Development Party, AK Party, is around the corner. Since becoming president, Erdoğan has been organizing meetings with muhtars, a type of rural village head, or, in urban settings, the neighborhood representative of the government, in a bid to continue his live on-screen speeches where he intervenes in matters ranging from Turkey's foreign policy to the monetary policies of the central bank. However, Erdoğan being heard depends mostly on the willingness of the pro-government media outlets created through funds raised by various businessmen in order to protect AK party interests. A prime example would be the Turkuaz Media Group, a conglomerate of such popular outlets as the Sabah and Takvim dailies and the ATV channel, as well as the English-language daily Sabah. All have been referred to as government mouthpieces since the surfacing of allegations that a group of businessmen had formed a pool of funds to purchase the group as per the instruction of then Prime Minister Erdoğan in return for privileged treatment in public tenders. These allegations are based on a number of voice recordings, purportedly of Erdoğan and the businessmen involved in the scheme. Anonymous Twitter accounts uploaded the recordings onto social media platforms, arguing that they were legally obtained during surveillance in corruption investigations that had been crippled by mass purges of prosecutors and police officers. The Turkuaz Media Group, and the businessmen mentioned in the tapes, have on many occasions denied ever receiving orders from Erdoğan to pool money for the acquisition of these media outlets. CHP leader, $630 million collected from 8 businessmen for pro-GovT media. Kemal Kılıçdaroğlu, the leader of the main opposition Republican People's Party, CHP, said in February 2014 that a total of $630 million was collected from 8 businesspeople, upon instructions by then Prime Minister Erdoğan, to buy the Sabah Media Group, a pro-government media outlet that owns dailies and television stations. I will ask you to listen to these wiretapped conversations and voice recordings between businesspeople and leading government officials at the next group meeting, Kılıçdaroğlu said at the party's parliamentary group meeting. People should know how Turkey is being plundered, he added. Turkish media ran Penguin documentary during largest protest in history of Republic. Erdoğan's grip on the Turkish media landscape was probably most evident during the Gezi Park protests in the summer of 2013 sparked by government plans to destroy a park located in the Taksim district of Istanbul and build an Ottoman-style military barracks in its place when a media group known for its liberal views and Western style of news broadcasting ran a documentary about penguins, censoring the largest demonstrations in the history of the Republic. Since August 2014, Ahmet Davutoğlu, a former academic and political advisor to Erdoğan, then foreign minister, has served as prime minister, and he understands clearly that having a grip on the media goes a long way in surviving the dangerous climate of Turkish politics. Journalist Yarkıtaş, Davutoğlu is making moves against Erdoğan. CHP deputy hopeful and journalist Bar Yarkıtaş spoke to Halk TV, known for its affiliation to the CHP, recently, saying, "The tension between Ahmet Davutoğlu and Recep Tayyip Erdoğan has turned into an all-out war. Davutoğlu is making move upon move against Erdoğan. Davutoğlu has seized the treasury and stopped all investments. Erdoğan will not be able to use the discretionary fund as he wants," said Yarkıtaş, pointing to claims that Erdoğan has been using the discretionary fund normally allocated for the use of the Prime Minister to finance covert operations in which the state may not be directly involved to bankroll pro-government media outlets. Erdoğan and Davutoğlu have different medias. One of the most important indicators of the media battle between Erdoğan and Davutoğlu surfaced when a month after the presidential inauguration of Erdoğan, in September, both separately held meetings with media bosses but invited the editors-in-chief of different news outlets. On September 14, Erdoğan held a meeting with the heads of 27 media outlets. The head of the Sabah Daily had said after the meeting that the common denominator of those present at the meeting was that they possessed a shared vision for a new Turkey, they supported the settlement process and that they were committed to the struggle against the parallel state. The parallel state or parallel structure, a derogatory term invented by Erdoğan and his circle within the AK party, refer to followers of the Gülen movement, also known as the Hizmet movement, a grassroots social initiative inspired by Turkish Islamic scholar Fethullah Gülen. In an attempt to solve the decades-old Kurdish and terrorism problems, the government launched the settlement process with Abdullah Öcalan, the incarcerated leader of the Kurdistan Workers' Party, PKK, at the end of 2012. The government believes the talks will help push PKK terrorists to lay down weapons, withdraw from Turkey and thus put an end to the country's terrorism issue. Later on the same day, Davutoğlu, who was then the newly appointed prime minister, also held a meeting with 9 editors-in-chief of different news outlets at the Prime Minister's office in Dolmabahce Palace, but many of those invited differed from Erdoğan's chosen invitees. The main difference between the meetings was claimed to be Erdoğan inviting the editors-in-chief of all of the pro-government news outlets, while Davutoğlu called those who were predominantly barred from Erdoğan's table. For instance, it was noted by the Turkish media that the head of the Hürriyet Daily, a prominent newspaper in Turkey with views sometimes critical of Erdoğan, was called to Davutoğlu's meeting, in addition to Fikret Bila, head of Milliyet Daily, and İsmail Yuvakhan, head of the Vatan Daily, who all carried the minutes of the meeting to the headlines of their newspapers the next day. This move was seen as Davutoğlu issuing a warm welcome to media outlets boycotted by Erdoğan and laying the foundation for a media more sympathetic to his own cause as prime minister. Selvi called a crypto writer by pro-Gov journalist after piece critical of Erdoğan. In another case, Abdülkadir Selvi, a journalist and usually a staunch supporter of the AK party and Erdoğan, was accused of being a crypto writer, a reference to crypto parallel, a term used to denigrate members of the Hizmet movement, by Semil Barlas, also a journalist and member of the Barlas family known for being staunch supporters of Erdoğan. Barlas's comments came after Selvi's article titled "The Spell is Being Broken", in which Selvi criticizes Erdoğan for his objection to the idea of a committee to monitor talks aimed at resolving Turkey's decades-old Kurdish issue, as the head of state said the process should only be conducted by the country's intelligence agency and the government. These processes are carried out by them, the intelligence agency. If the government is in charge, then the government should continue the process. That's what I think. The process should remain within its current framework, Erdoğan told reporters at Istanbul Ataturk Airport before leaving for a visit to Ukraine in March. The Gülen movement is frequently accused by government officials of obstructing the settlement process between the government and the PKK, has been the target of Erdoğan's self-declared war against the so-called parallel state. Erdoğan accuses the movement of instigating the infamous corruption probes that went public on December 17 and 25, 2013 and involved former ministers in his government. Erdoğan, who claims the Gülen movement tried and failed to carry out a coup attempt against himself and his government, has gone as far as to say, if reassigning individuals who betray this country is called a witch hunt, then yes, we will carry out this witch hunt. During a speech at the 22nd Consultation and Assessment Meeting of the AK Party in 2014.